As the Iron Curtain fell, it marked the end of socialist regimes and the dawn of independence for many Eastern European countries. Many of these nations were ruled by monarchies in the past, and during the tumultuous period of political transformation, whispers of a return to royal rule began to surface. Whether driven by nostalgia for a bygone era or opposition to the deposed communist leaders, these voices called for the restoration of monarchies as a form of governance. Though no nation has yet reclaimed its royal roots, some have come tantalizingly close. I have picked for you some of the most fascinating stories of returning Eastern European royals in recent history. We are going to start on a high note with a peculiar case of Albania's Count Prince Leka Zogu. Leka Zogu, born on April 5, 1939 in Tirana, Albania, was the sole heir to the Albanian throne as the only son of President-turned-King Zog I. Merely 2 days after his birth, the Italian invasion of Albania forced his family into exile. Leka spent his life across various countries, including England, Egypt, Switzerland, France, and South Africa. After studying economics and military science, he was proclaimed King of the Albanians by an exiled assembly following his father's death in 1961. Meanwhile, back in Albania, a communist regime had taken hold after World War II. It wasn't until 1991, after mass protests and riots, that the regime finally collapsed. That same year, Albania held its first multi-party elections. In 1993, Leka returned to his homeland, armed with a passport issued by his own royal court in exile, which boldly listed his profession as king. In 1997, Albania faced further turmoil after fraudulent pyramid schemes cost millions of citizens their savings, ultimately leading to the collapse of the government and a descent into anarchy. Amid the violent chaos, sometimes referred to as the Albanian Civil War, Leka sought to rally his supporters and restore the monarchy. In June, alongside new elections, a referendum was held to determine the monarchy's fate. Official results indicated that nearly 2/3 of voters opposed its restoration. Undeterred, Leka organized a demonstration in Tirana, accusing the Electoral Commission of fraud. The protest turned violent, leading to clashes between armed protesters and police, resulting in the deaths of 1 to 5 people. On July 12, 1997, Leka fled to South Africa, and the Albanian government sentenced him to 3 years in prison for sedition, in absentia. However, the conviction was overturned in March 2002, when 72 members of parliament requested the royal family's return. In June 2002, Leka came back to Albania, accompanied by 11 cases of automatic weapons, grenades, and hunting arms. Although authorities initially seized the weapons, they were later returned as items of cultural heritage. Following his return, Leka led a peaceful life with his wife and son. Leka's life came to an end on November 30, 2011, when he suffered a heart attack at Mother Teresa Hospital in Tirana. In honor of the former crown prince, Albanian authorities held official ceremonies, and December 3rd, the day of his funeral, was declared a day of national mourning. Let's now move on to Georgia, where a Game of Thrones-style dynastic machinations among the heirs of the ancient Bagrationi dynasty came into motion even before the country decided if it wants to have a king again. The debate on establishing a constitutional monarchy in Georgia re-emerged amidst the country's political crisis in 2007. Catholicos Patriarch Ilya II, the revered leader of the Georgian Orthodox Church, endorsed the idea during a sermon, describing the restoration of the royal dynasty as a desirable dream. He emphasized that if the Georgian people opted for this form of governance, a suitable candidate should be groomed from childhood to become king. Although a 1998 survey showed only 16.3% of respondents supporting a monarchy, polls in 2007 and 2013 from popular TV shows and tabloids revealed a growing number of proponents, including Georgia's current president, Salome Zurabichvili. The natural claimants to the Georgian throne are the Bagrationi dynasty's descendants. The Bagrationi, one of the oldest extant Christian ruling dynasties, ruled Georgia from the Middle Ages until the early 19th century. After the unified Kingdom of Georgia fragmented in the late 15th century, Bagrationi branches governed the breakaway Georgian kingdoms of Kartli, Kakheti, and Imereti until Russia's annexation in the 19th century. However, the possibility of restoring the monarchy is complicated by two rival lines vying for the title of heir, Mukrani and Gruzinski. David Bagrationi Mukrani, the head of the princely house of Mukrani, claims primogeniture as the head of the royal house of Bagrationi. He returned his family to Georgia in 2003, ending decades of exile. In 2008, he accompanied Georgian soldiers to the front line during the Russo-Georgian War and attended the inauguration of Georgia's first female president, Salome Zurabichvili, in 2018. The Bagratian-Gruzinski line, genealogically junior to the princes of Mukrani, reigned over the kingdom of Kakheti and maintained sovereignty until Russia's annexation in 1800. Members of this line still reside in Georgia. Prince Nugzar Petrovic Bagratian-Gruzinski, the most senior known patrilineal descendant of Kartli Kakheti's last king, George XIV, leads the Kakhetian branch of the dynasty and designated his eldest daughter Anna as his heir. In a plot twist worthy of Hollywood, David Bagrationi Mukrani married Princess Anna Bagration-Gruzinski in 2009. Their son, Prince Georgi, born in Georgia in 2011, may be considered the throne's heir apparent. Born in Spain, Georgi unites the claims of both the Mukraneli and Gruzinski branches to the former Georgian throne. His christening in Georgia in 2013 was officiated by Patriarch Ilya II, who also became his godfather, with government ministers and international guests in attendance. However, Princess Anna and Prince David separated within months of their wedding. Allegations emerged that Georgian government members conspired to sabotage the patriarch's aspirations by encouraging model Sharina Begashvili to seduce Prince David and undermine the marriage. Begashvili later admitted to having an affair with the prince. The couple's first marriage was dissolved in August 2009, but they later reconciled and remarried in a civil ceremony in Spain in 2010. They divorced again in December 2013, and Princess Anna gained custody of young Prince Georgi. The path toward potentially restoring the Georgian monarchy is riddled with obstacles, yet the captivating story of the Bagrationi dynasty's rival branches and the heir who could unite them remains undeniably intriguing. Some former royals have come to realize that reclaiming a monarchy isn't necessary to wield power. This is the fascinating story of Simeon Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, or Saxe-Coburg-Gotski, of Bulgaria. In 1943, when Simeon was merely 6 years old, his father, Boris III of Bulgaria, passed away. The young boy ascended the throne as Simeon II, the last Tsar of the Kingdom of Bulgaria, ruling until 1946. However, a Soviet-backed referendum that year abolished the monarchy, sending the royal family, including young Simeon, into exile. Initially, the family found refuge in Egypt, where Queen Giovanna's father, former King of Italy, Victor Emmanuel, lived in exile. There, Simeon studied at Victoria College alongside Crown Prince Leka Zogu of Albania. Later, in July of that same year, General Franco granted the family asylum in Spain. In 1958, Simeon enrolled in a military academy in the United States, graduating as a second lieutenant before returning to Spain. For 13 years, he chaired the Spanish subsidiary of Thomson, a defense and electronics firm. After the fall of communism in Bulgaria, Simeon received a new Bulgarian passport. In 1996, 50 years after the monarchy's abolition, he returned to Bulgaria, where he was greeted by cheering crowds. Despite this, Simeon refrained from expressing his views on restoring the Bulgarian monarchy. In 2001, Simeon launched a new political party, the national movement Simeon II, committed to reforms and political integrity. He pledged that within 800 days, Bulgarians would witness tangible improvements in their standard of living.
Гласувай за НДСВ в своята община. Промени статуквото.
The movement emerged victorious in the 2001 parliamentary elections, securing exactly half of the 240 parliamentary seats. On July 24th, Simeon was sworn in as Prime Minister of the Republic of Bulgaria, forming a coalition with an ethnic Turkish party.
And you're being seen by many people as the answer to their woes. It's a huge expectation on your shoulders, isn't it?
Far too much. And I say I only have two hands and a fairly tired head. But if we all join and really work and look forward and forget a whole lot of things and try and put this past behind us for good, chances are. Bulgaria.
During his tenure, Bulgaria joined the US-led coalition against Iraq and became a NATO member. The country also negotiated for European Union association. Simeon's government presided over numerous privatization deals and concession agreements, inciting tension and mistrust among Bulgarians. Despite economic growth, negative trends persisted in the Bulgarian economy, such as a negative foreign trade balance and rising external debt for private enterprises. Furthermore, the return of some former royal property to Simeon's family stirred controversy. In the 2005 elections, the Tsar's party was defeated due to widespread disappointment with the government's leadership and unmet high expectations. The party failed to secure any seats in the 2009 parliamentary elections, leading Simeon to resign as its leader and withdraw from politics. As of 2023, Simeon, now 85 years old, resides in a lodge within the once royal, now public Vrana Park. As an interesting tidbit, he is also the last living person to be playable as a character in the World War II-themed strategy game Hearts of Iron IV. Some former monarchs have captured the hearts of their people by prioritizing their country over their personal interests. This is how many view the legacy of the last king of Romania, Michael I. Born in 1921, Michael developed a passion for cars, particularly military jeeps, during his childhood. This interest, unfortunately, led to a tragic accident when, at 16 years old, he struck a bicyclist with his car, resulting in the cyclist's death. At a young age of 18, Michael ascended the throne on September 6, 1940, when his father was forced to abdicate by the dictatorial Prime Minister Ion Antonescu. Antonescu limited the young monarch's powers to a mostly ceremonial role, while also naming himself the conducator, or leader, of Romania. In foreign policy, he aligned the country with Nazi Germany. By 1944, the ongoing unsuccessful war alongside Germany on the Eastern Front had weakened Antonescu's political support in Romania. Pro-Allied opposition leaders conspired with King Michael to oust him from power. On August 23rd, Michael invited Antonescu to the royal palace and requested that he break the alliance with the Nazis. When Antonescu refused, the king had him arrested and subsequently declared an alliance with the Allies. The royal coup d'état placed Romania on the winning side in World War II. However, this was not the end of young Michael's challenges. In March 1945, political pressures forced Michael to appoint a pro-Soviet government headed by Petrovic-Njegos. In response, Michael went on a royal strike and attempted to oppose Groza's communist-controlled government by refusing to sign and endorse its decrees. In November 1947, after attending the wedding of his cousins, the future Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and Prince Philip, Michael returned to Romania, only for Groza to force him to abdicate by threatening to execute hundreds of young pro-monarchy supporters who had been detained during demonstrations. To emphasize the gravity of his ultimatum, Groza even seized Michael's hand and forced him to feel a concealed pistol in his pocket.
What are you supposed to do in a situation like that?
Recalled the king during an interview in 2011. Groza had troops surround the royal palace, and Michael was left with little choice but to sign the paper of abdication. Soon after, he was stripped of his citizenship and forced into exile. In 1948, Michael married Princess Anne of Bourbon-Parma, with whom he had 5 daughters. The couple eventually settled in Switzerland. The communist dictatorship in Romania fell in 1989. In 1992, Michael was allowed to visit Romania for Easter, where he was greeted by massive crowds. A speech he gave from his hotel window attracted an estimated 1 million people to Bucharest. Alarmed by Michael's popularity, the post-communist government of Ion Iliescu refused to allow him any further visits. In 1997, after Iliescu's defeat in the previous year's presidential election, Michael's citizenship was restored, and he was allowed to visit Romania once more. Although Michael neither encouraged nor opposed monarchist agitation in Romania, he undertook some quasi-diplomatic roles on behalf of post-communist Romania. Between 1997 and 2002, he toured Western Europe, lobbying for Romania's admission into NATO and the European Union, and was received by heads of state and government officials. On his 90th birthday in 2011, he delivered a historic speech before the Romanian parliament, calling for ethical and responsible governance of the country. Michael's actions throughout his life endeared him to the public. In a 2012 opinion poll, he was ranked as the most trusted public figure in Romania, far ahead of political leaders. A 2013 survey found that 45% of Romanians held a good or very good opinion of Michael, with only 6.5% thinking the opposite, even though fewer than 20% of Romanians favored the restoration of the monarchy. King Michael I passed away at his residence in Switzerland on December 5, 2017, at the age of 96. His funeral ceremony, held in Bucharest, Romania, was one of the largest in the country's history, with nearly 1 million Romanians flocking to the capital to pay their respects and witness the event. Notable guests included the country's President Klaus Iohannis, Kings of Spain and Sweden, and Charles, Prince of Wales. A 3-day national mourning period was declared. To this day, Michael remains a respected figure among Romanians. Finally, let's give an honorable mention to the small country of Montenegro, once a part of Yugoslavia. In a rather low-key manner, they came the closest to officially recognizing their royal family through their 2011 statute. This legislation provides Nicholas Petrovic-Njegos, the heir of an ancient Montenegrin dynasty, with a monthly stipend equal to the president's salary. It also grants his family residences in Cetinje, Podgorica, and Njegusi, along with the use of the first floor of the former royal palace. Furthermore, the Montenegrin state committed to paying 4.3 million euros to a charitable foundation managed by the family. Thank you for watching. Is your country a monarchy? Would you want it to be? Leave a comment down below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. See you next time!